After being 70 minutes late to my previous night's dinner, I made sure to get an early start this time. In fact, it was still light while I waited for the bus on the Circonvallazione and when I got to my dinner destination just south of Viale Liguria, Distreat. I'd been here in 2019, shortly after they opened, and liked it a lot. This time, I liked it even a lot more. The previous time, I'd only been in the restaurant upstairs. This time, it was mild enough to stay in the beautiful courtyard. Dinner tables were already set up, but as it was still so early, I decided to start off with an aperitivo. I seated myself on the white sofas, and after a brief look at the cocktail list, went for a fumoir, made from mezcal, lime, angostura bitters, agave syrup, and amaro farmili, a rhubarb, gentian, coffee and cocoa bean-based amaro. The fumoir arrived, along with some delicious homemade taralli. I discovered I was sitting under a fig tree, when first a fig leaf drifted down onto my head, and then a fig casually dropped onto the table next to the light. The waitress told me the chef had set up a barbecue in the courtyard. Would I like some arrosticini, the famous grilled lamb skewers from the Abruzzo, to go along with my cocktail? Only one answer to that. By the time I'd finished the arrosticini, the taralli, and my cocktail, the light had faded, and I was ushered to my dinner table. The cocktail, the laid-back atmosphere, and the friendliness of the staff had spurred my appetite. It was time for the serious work of my menu choices. Before I made my antipasto decision, I was brought a glass of spumante, a 100% Chardonnay Blanc de Blanc Francesco Galliano from Borgo Maragliano in the Piemonte, roughly halfway between Alba and Acquiterme. My mood was getting better and better, even before the antipasto appeared. This was a phenomenal late summer salad of cantaloupe and barattiere, a small round melon variety from Puglia, usually eaten when unripe, with a taste between honeydew melon and cucumber. They are, of course, from the same botanical family. That wasn't all. There were tomatoes and capers from Salina, plus Salicornia, and all of this rested on a bed of ajo blanco, the Spanish garlic and almond soup mixture, here in a thick puree. 2 caper leaves sat on top. The waitress made a point of telling me that they were edible. I love discovering new foods. Caper leaves have a delicate texture and a fragrant taste reminiscent of, well, capers. For my primo, I went for short tube-shaped pasta, which were served at room temperature, along with a ragu of knife-cut, as opposed to machine-minced, bergamasca lamb, on top of a cream of lodigiano, the type of grana made in the province of Lodi. There were also some shavings of black summer truffle, and, more visibly, a mountain of dandelion green ribbons. It's exactly this kind of dish which made me want to return to Distreat after the first dinner. Lamb ragu, much less dandelion greens, are both things I would never see on any pasta in any Italian restaurant in Vienna, and the dish was an utter delight. The waitress recommended a natural wine to continue with, but warned me that it tasted of cider, whereupon I vetoed it, and she came up with an alternate proposal which totally hit the spot. This was a rosé called Libertà, made from Barbera, Freisa, and Cortese grapes from Vigneti Massa just outside Tortona in eastern Piemonte. When it came to the secondo, my choice was immediately clear. The grilled cardoncelli, or king oyster mushrooms, with thin grilled zucchini slices and even thinner grilled slices of crisp rye bread. All of these grilled items rested in a pool of zucchini cream in an almost improbably bright green hue. Those streaks of brilliant red in the cream are harissa. Pure pleasure. Absolutely delightful. One of the best vegetarian secondi I have had in a long time, in a field with many other candidates. Time for dessert. Difficult choices here. I eventually sided with a comfort food classic, a peach crumble. Fruit crumbles may look plain, but that belies their irresistible flavor payoff. This crumble was as good as they get. The scoop of gelato on top was flavored with white pepper, in case you were wondering. One of the best things you can do to ice cream, I should add. I sidestepped the temptation to have a dessert wine or a digestivo. I had an early start the next day, and the dinner had been perfect just as it was. Distreat, one of the most likable spaces in Milan, is bound to become a fixture in my culinary planning on future trips.